we're going to take the hands and encourage our lifting posture to, again, move into our bodies and our full real estate. The knees are soft. I'm going to turn just a little bit so you can see. You might even want to move and just lift a little taller from your chair. If you're standing, you're going to lengthen. And this is also just a nice practice to breathe deeply. If nothing else today, hopefully we will have reduced stress for at least 30 minutes and breathed deeply. Let's hold the hands right here at our navel, our center of energy, we like to call it. In Tai Chi, it's called the Dan Tian, and it's about 2 inches in and below your belly button. So this will encourage us to let the shoulders relax from our ears. We're all going to look a little different in our form, and that's what's beautiful about it. It's unique to each of us. There is no right or wrong, just movement, breath, meditation in motion. Let's slow and see if we can take a 3 count inhalation or exhalation. Inhale and exhale. Imagining our hands are holding a ball. This is actually one of the foundational movements in Tai Chi, this idea of holding a ball, breathing, you got it. Now let's imagine the ball and roll it between our hands. The same relaxed breath. We're going to roll our ball and even shrink it down a little bit. So again, settle in to the ribs. And we're just going to roll that ball even across our body. Sliding it from one side of your body to the other. We call these our columns. And it's one of, again, the foundational principles. We find our stability through centering our weight between the columns. The center we're referring to is both center of gravity and center of energy, that Dan Tian. So you may hear me refer to that. It's just the Eastern version of, let's say, your power, your breath, your heart, your circulation. Awesome. Now let's hold to one side and shift your weight to that column on the right. And then we're going to pull back to center and roll the ball to the left. So we've already covered 2 principles, coming back to center and right. So remembering you're holding a ball, standing or seated on that right cheek, pull the ball across the center line of the body. Brilliant. And then we load or flow from one side of the body to the other. And I'm going to have you come to center for a second and do something silly. Let's just wiggle our fingers and open and close the fists. Because you might find anytime we try something new, we're kind of a little jazzed or excited. We just want to really let go. I sometimes with my clients do this, blah, 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 blah. If I'm holding stress in my head and neck, it's really hard for me to breathe. Let's take the arms down. They might even be tired from holding that silly ball, right? That got really heavy. So speaking of, let's do a few shoulder raises and shrugs or rolls. Just make sure you are pulling the shoulder back and down the body, forward, maybe a little lift towards the ears, but largely we want to leave the shoulders away from the ears. Almost think of them like poison. Nice. Now, what if we circle the arms? So no ball for the moment. We have let go of the ball. It has rolled away. And from seated or standing, we're going to step together, or again, centered to where I could lift a foot. And then I'm going to shift my weight again to that other column, staying tall, proud, almost like a moving bookshelf, my head, my shoulders, my ribs, drawing that abdomen in. And the best part of this is it is not synchronized. So if you're moving right, I'm moving left. We are not concerned in the least. The arms are circling, and again, reminding us to draw up, big breath. And then you might have just saw me lift my knee. So if, again, it's appropriate, you can tap as if you're going to lift the knee, or again, another principle, balance. We will not lift until we have emptied from one side body or column to the other. You got it. Lift, shift, and stepping side to side. Awesome. Well done, well done. So this is a side to side movement. Again, even from seated, we can benefit from holding that rib cage, heart and head proud. Well done. Let's place the hands on our hips for a moment. Again, get back in our body if we started to drift. And I like to shift my weight in my feet. I'm going to back up a little bit so you can see my feet a little bit better. I'm rooting through my feet to, again, create stability from the ground up. If I'm seated, from my seat or hips down, drawing that abdomen in. Let's step one foot forward if you're standing, and we're going to do some pushing and shoving gently. We're going to push chi. All it is that same idea of flowing and weight shifting. And that energy, chi, you might know if you have any experience with Eastern ideas and concepts, that chi is, again, that same life energy or force. We're sending the good and receiving the good. And the gentle press, I never fully extend my arm. It's soft, sorry, Richard, lady delicate wrist. So even though we have a gentleman with us, we're just doing it softly and pulling from that center. Shoulders relaxed. We're going to do this on both sides of our body. So you can send it away, yes, and bring it in. I'm sorry. I have a bad habit of pushing and then kind of grabbing back. But what we're really doing is pushing and pulling. It's a wonderful stretch to the wrist, by the way. And one thing to be aware of, I'm going to turn myself. We don't want to push and shove this way. You can see how that would affect my low back. I'm moving again more from this belly. Let your belly button, that dantian, your center of energy, also your center of gravity. So to the point of that stability. Brilliant, everybody. Let's come back to center for a moment and just take that ball again. Hold the ball. We're going to open and close as we were, attaching our movement to breath. So if you find yourself hyperventilating, we're probably moving too quickly. And I love challenging myself. How deep a breath can I draw in as well as expel or exhale? Let's roll that ball again. I like to think of a globe sometimes. East, west, right? East meets west. A marrying of cultures and ideas. We're going to add some rotation. Hold that ball. Can we reach and share it across the body? And then pull it across back to center. And then look at this. We're going to switch hands, roll the ball, and push it away. Yes. Roll and push. I'm moving from my waist. Excellent. The elbow stays relaxed. If we have to hold it high, that will be more strain. Just a couple more times. Soft knees, waistline pulled in. Intentional breath. So by reaching across our body, we're stretching our spine. Again, from our stable center. And then I didn't forget, I almost did, hold center for me. Let's switch feet. So pushing chi, can't do too many or I'll forget what foot I was on. You may have already, it's not a big deal. We're gonna push and then again, draw back in. We're gonna push and pull into, again, that heart center, pushing from, again, that belly button. You could also think of it as a headlight. And it's amazing how heavy our arms get. Unique to each maybe form of exercise you may already be doing. Slowing everything down adds a manual resistance, particularly if you really imagine moving this thick air like furniture. But bring it back in. This is a foundational movement as well to the form. So you have already learned, believe it or not, 2 movements, holding the ball and pushing chi. Love it. All right, I feel like there's one more movement you'll really enjoy in the practice, in the warm-up. It's actually a Qigong movement. It's called parting the clouds. You're gonna exhale and push away. And then we're going to kind of breaststroke the clouds and then scoop a little bit lower, dropping the arms and into center, back to center. You got it. And then parting the clouds, we gently push and then bring the arms around to your side. Just as big a movement as those shoulders will allow. That's the beauty of this, unique to each of us, no matter what joint replacements, health conditions we might have. You only move to your ability and I to mine. Anytime I bring those hands up, it reminds me to lift up from my rib cage because I typically tend to, maybe like most of America, slouch. And it's really incredible to the degree we do all this forward movement. So when I push forward, I'm pulling my shoulders back. Last one, parting the clouds. And I'll leave one of my favorite movements for the cool down, but I'll let you know what it's called. It's called heaven and earth. So that was parting the clouds. We'll do heaven and earth as our cool down. Today's main move is called ward off. And it starts with that hold the ball. So let's get our ball and our posture to, I'll say the right side. Excellent. Some of us are right-handed, some are not. Deb is our resident lefty. We're going to step and pull. So we're taking that hold the ball from the warm-up and now we're adding a step to this hold the ball. It's tempting perhaps to dip or sway, but we're really trying to keep shoulders and hips stable, a little bit like that moving bookshelf I talked about. And I like to imagine if you're moving your feet from seated or standing, that I'm walking on a thin sheet of glass or ice rather, maybe fine china. And remember that rolling, when we pull, it's the outside arm that's high, and then we roll the ball and pull it across the body. You got it, you're doing it, Kathy. Shrink the ball, maybe just a little bit, Kathy. to globe size. There you go. You got it. Deb makes a beautiful shadow. Sometimes you see her, sometimes you don't. So this is hold the ball. Here's the good news. We're going to stay on one side. We're going to shrink the ball and ward off. This is really the ward off. Let's turn the ball so that your bottom hand is in front. So we just turned our globe from this side and we shrunk it down. Maybe softball size, but it's really smaller. And then we're going to step and turn our foot out. Yep, right there. So I have a 90-degree position. Now let's go back to hold the ball. Standing on your right, hold your globe kind of at that hip. You got it. Now let's shrink it down like you're taking that energy and compressing it to ward off. Turn and step your foot out first. And then bring that hand high, the bottom hand high, the back just pulls behind. So here's what I look like. There we go. And now we're going to rotate. Good thing we warmed up with some rotation. Right there. Oh yeah. Little stretch on the back of my hip. Good job. Now let's come back to center. Just come back the way you came and back to hold the ball. Beautiful. We're going to shrink that ball. Bring it in front of us. Step out. And ward off. So we have this energy and it's like, watch out or I'm going to get you. I'm going to let go of this energy. Rotate maybe 45 degrees. And then look at this. Hold the bird. I'm going to show this arm. Imagine I have a bird sitting right here. I like to think of those fancy bird shows with parakeets and parrots. And here's the tail. So let's say I'm holding this bird. Yep. You got it. And if I can come closer, yep, it's just resting on this backhand that's a little bit higher. It's on its perch. Right there, you got it. And then what we're going to do with that bird is we're going to roll it back. You're going to just shift your weight back and seal that backhand to the wrist. And then we're going to push and seal. Soft arms, yep, just my hand on the inside of my wrist. And then you know this one, pushing chi. Pull back, push chi. Oh yeah, you guys look amazing. And then come back to center. Wow, who knew? It was a good day to join, guys, because you learned movements that were right part of, as I said, foundational to this. Go ahead and shake it off if you like. And then we're going to come back. Yes, yes, yes. Shake the head, the shoulders, and even the hands and wrists maybe. Wiggle those fingers. We're going to hold the ball and shrink that ball. Shrink it down. Bring the bottom hand forward. Yes. Step out. And then we're going to move out, ward off. As we ward off, this is where the bird comes to land on your hand. You're just going to grasp the bird gently, and we're going to roll back, which is just this weight shift, not leaning back. And then hand to wrist. Yep, left hand, excuse me. Yep, left hand, right wrist, Kathy, you got it. And then we're going to seal and pushing chi back, one pushing chi. And then if you want to get fancy, you can bring that hand high and we would be on our other side. Look at that fancy. So we brought the hands kind of wide, a big circle, and then we have the ball on our left hip. Oh, can you imagine learning something from left to right? Let's do it on the right one more time. Again, presuming that may be our more confident side. Hold the ball right, standing on that right. My left foot is just lightly propping me up. But at any moment, because we know we're always moving into something next in the form, hold the ball, shrink it down, ward off. Bring the bottom hand forward, move that energy, that compressed ball, step out. Smaller step is often better. I tend to overstride. Then we ward off by bringing that energy and releasing it like a magic trick to grasp the bird's tail. And then we pull back or roll back. You'll hear me say that a lot. Roll back just means to shift weight, seal the hand to the wrist, and then push that wrist with that hand. So again, there's some gentle energy transferring, pushing chi. And we, again, shift weight back and push. And then here's fancy. I like this part. Big sweep, a weight shift. This is a balance challenge. I sometimes teeter. And then we're back on this right side. One more time. Hold the ball, compress the energy, ward off. We're on that same side one more time. Step out, ward off. Grasp the bird's tail. Roll back. Seal, hand to wrist. One more time across your body, push. And then pushing chi. Shoulders over hips. Push from your belly. Remember that breath, belly breath. And again, ta-da, this kind of finish. I like a flourish from time to time. Let's just step side to side and hold that ball. This is a warm-up movement, and you guys have already surpassed warm-up level. Yeah. So here, yes, the hands can come around. There's that ball, shifting weight, strong, tall, centered, holding that globe. We're going to finish on the other side, whatever that might be for you. Right now, we really don't want to get wrapped around the axle, right, left, side. Just pick a side and do the other side now. I am on my left. So here's our hold the ball. I'm standing on this left side. So that, yes, Richard, that left, your right hand, excuse me, is high. Yep, yep. And now we're going to shrink that energy on the other side and ward off and step out. So some of these movements will start to flow a little better. We bring the energy across and release it to our grasp the bird's tail and roll back. And then we're going to seal, hand to wrist, other wrist now, right? So the back hand is going to seal to this front wrist and then push it across and pushing chi. We can, again, let go. And again, if you like that flourish, you can just come back to center or bring the hand back to center. And we're going to repeat on the other side, same side, excuse me. So standing on the side with your ball at that column. So from sometimes center, you're pulling it to that left shoulder and hip. And then we're going to shrink that energy and ward off. Bring the bottom hand forward, step out. Draw across your body. So knowing your start and end points is helpful to grasp the bird's tail. Roll back. Hand to wrist seals to push across the body and pushing chi. So you can see how slower the better. So you have time to think and send the message, the command, the direction. At this point, to translate my cues to the brain and then to the body. So I am finding this side a lot more challenging to translate brain to body. Hold the ball. Same side, let's shrink that ball and ward off. You bring the ball, heart center, step out, turn out, release it to grasp the bird's tail. Pull back and place the back hand on that wrist and push chi. And then look at this, flourish. And then can we end up on that other side? So now we're gonna alternate. If you feel game, let's do 1, 2, 3, or 4, alternating. And then look at the time, we'll be ready to cool down already. So hold the ball. Yes, Richard's ready on the side. We're going to shrink to ward off, stepping out. Rotate. Grasp the bird's tail. Roll back. Seal, hand to wrist. Again, drawing across the body, lots of good rotation. Pushing chi. There is no right and wrong. If you get 1, 2, or 3 of these connections today, we have succeeded, and that's what we're going to celebrate. And then I'm on the other side, holding the ball. So that circle, let's see if I went the right way. Yeah, we were over here, we circled, and then you shift back to left, so the opposite side. Go ahead and ward off. Bring that energy smaller, close it, and rotate to step out, pulling that ball across your body to release and grasp the bird's tail. Roll back, seal, hand to wrist, push, all my wrists, everything is just soft and flowing. Draw back to push chi. Yes, and then we sweep and circle. We're going to end up on the other side. Ward off, bring the energy in, forward and rotate, stepping out, turning out. Release the energy to grasp the bird's tail. Roll back, seal the hand to the wrist. Pull that abdomen in as you breathe and push chi. And flourish. And then we're coming back to this opposite side. There you go. So one hand kind of sweeps, this holds, and we return. Ward off. Yeah, yes, yes. Brilliant. Squeeze that energy down, compress it. Tummy tuck, step out, ward off. Release that energy to gently grasp the bird's tail. Roll back. This is where we connect, backhand to front wrist. Seal. And then release to push chi. Again, it's another kind of roll back or sweep. Here's our big sweep, big flourish. It's going to take us all the way back to this side over here. Yep, and to hold that ball. Wow. All right, one more time each side. Nice and tall, head above the water line, your shoulders. Let's compress that energy, ward off. If you've watched any of like the Airbenders or movies, release that energy, grasp the bird's tail. Seal, hand to wrist, like a Ziploc seal is what I'm referring to, not a zoo animal. And then roll back to push chi. Release again, draw and push. Here's our sweeping flourish. You might know Tai Chi. Some take it high and low, and then we're coming back to the arm that stayed put. So the other side of your body, hold again that ball, shrink the energy, intention, step out, ward off. Grasp the bird's tail. Backhand to front wrist to push it as gently. Again, now you have some resistance to push, release to pushing chi. Shoulders over hips. Yeah, you guys look good. That posture. Yes, Kathy, sweep the arm. Deb, you look good. We look good. Everybody looks good. Wow, you should be so, I hope, impressed with yourselves. I mentioned a cool down and how fast these 30 minutes go. There is a lot of repetition, thank heavens. So while you can practice 10 minutes a day between the sessions, you will find you get some confidence and familiarity, mostly with what I'm saying. Our cool down, again, let's take a deep breath, settle into the hips, soften the knees. Again, make contact with whatever surfaces you're connected to right now. Let's take a deep breath in and exhale. Deep breath again. We can just bask in the goodness of what you've just done. Ah, wonderful. Heaven and earth. From this low, we're going to draw the fingertips up the front of the body. And as you can imagine, reach overhead, whatever that looks like for you, and let your gaze follow. There's the heavens. Exhale, sweep the arms wide into the side. Your head is going to follow one side. So right or left, again, we're not going to get worked up about that. And then we're going to release the arms. And as you do that, it's called a hip hinge. You're basically bending over, but from your hips to get to the earth. And then to the degree you want, you're going to scoop out the earth. If you're seated, just hinge from the hips and scoop between your knees. And then we're going to draw that all the way up. I was cutting us off before, and then drawing back into your heart. So we always want to return to ourselves, right? We spend so much time outside of our bodies. And then we repeat that, of course. Deep breath, inhale, outside of our bodies, reaching to the heavens. Exhale, look the other way. So whatever way you chose before, reach wide into the side. Take a bow, well-deserved. Exhale, reach to the earth. Soften the knees if you're standing with me, and rise up and back to center. 2 more times, each side. Deep breath, inhale, heaven and earth, reaching to the heavens. Extend the arms wide, let your head follow one hand. Let it continue to flow and draw you back. Tuck your tummy in, push your bottoms back, scoop some earth to ground yourself, and let's take it high, 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 and then draw it back into center. I'm going to turn just so you can see the profile of this one more time. Deep breath, heaven. Inhale, exhale, sweep, and let your gaze follow a hand. Here's my hinge, tucking my tummy, scooting my hips over the heels, drawing down, back up. Rising with my head up is really important so I don't get dizzy. So by that bend in my knee, I'm going to demonstrate right here. When I'm in my low and hinging, I drop my bottom so that my head is still above my heart. And there's no chance or less chance of me getting what's called blood vertigo.